Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Trade the Chain. It is September 7th. It is Wednesday, which is Hump Day. I'm joined by our Director of Research, Nick Mancini, who's here, and Doug, who is currently on an airplane. So he won't be joining with us. And since he's the everyday guy,
Doug's rich off Luna Classic right now. He's on his way to Ibiza and Mykonos.
I highly doubt it. I saw somebody put out a poll. I forget who it was. I thought it was Megzy from our community about which meme coin deserves some positive price action. And like out of 4 meme coins, Doge, Sheeb, and one other, Luna C came up first, and I was like, out of all of them, that one deserves.
Hold on. For any Trade
What?
the Chain members watching, I mean, it's actually a bit scary how spot on I've been with these morning calls. But 39.30 was the first target, and then 39.80 was the second target for the day. We hit both to perfection. It just hit 39.80 as Alex was talking. So if you're in the Trade the Chain community and you played the bull move this morning, you made money like you've been doing every single day this week.
September's been really good. In the week before. September's been really good. Trade chain sentiment's been doing really well. Our numbers, our analysis has been pretty much on the mark. So, you have those good months, you have those bad months. You just try to make sure you have more good than bad. Also, don't forget, if you're a Trade the Chain member, it's Wednesday, so we have our members AMA at 5:30 today with Josh Frank from the Tide to go over some trading stuff and various coins with sentiment action that are happening. The registration for that is in the members only Discord under the announcement, or will be in the announcements channel. So make sure you hit that up. A lot of action for VGX. I know that there's a lot of people who watch the channel that are VGX holders and Voyager customers. So we'll take a look at that at the end of the show, and of course the tweet that Voyager put out. But real quickly, let's go to the macro side of things, because it's interesting times right now for all the crypto market, not just Voyager. One, we're still under $1 trillion in total market cap for crypto, but as you can see, Bitcoin price peaking above 19,000. If you got the newsletter today, you saw the hottest on Twitter. HNT Helium is up 38.28% in price action, and that is because, and that's off a big rebound from yesterday. Yesterday it was down, and it had been down sharply, mainly on negative sentiment from its market cap basically halving from $1 billion to $500 million and less. Most bullish coins on the day. We do list USDC, as you can see there at the bottom. That's because our members like to see the stables listed. I don't know why. You don't trade them really. But you have Ocean, MXC, OXT rounding out the back three on the most bullish. You have Yearn Finance, the second on the most bearish, ANT, Ample, and Aave rounding it out with the 29. So, not looking particularly hot over there. But Aave, I'm curious about. I haven't been covering Aave for a couple months now. Hasn't been on my portfolio spectrum. Going over to the coins page, everybody is rising up sharply now. It's only been happening over the last hour. And again, with Bitcoin peaking up above 19, if you're a DCA person, hopefully you grab some in the 18,000 mark. I mean, we went down to 18,500, which is good. And listen, anybody who says you won't be able to buy it under 19 again, I think they may be wrong. Ethereum at 1570. I like that price. I DCA'd into both Bitcoin and Ethereum. And one of the things that we're going to talk about today as well when we hit the charts is the merge, which is coming up next week. And there's a bullish feeling among the Trade the Chain staff. So we're going to take a look at that as well. Polygon down there up. A lot of stuff up. I'm really enjoying it, actually. It's Crypto winners are so freaking boring.
I know. Personally, though, I do have a thesis that when we're talking about the macro, and I know the title was a little bearish, and we are at the steps of beardom, of true beardom. But Alex and I were talking, and I'm very curious to hear what everybody else thinks, in addition to, of course, Alex. But I have a feeling that it's time to start being more of a contrarian in regard to the macro than it is to float the mainstream. And if you've been listening for, I don't know, since February, I've been pretty bearish. I took a lot of hate for the drop from ETH to about 3,500 to 2. Took a lot of heat back when I was screaming about the 3AC debacle and bear all the way down below 20K. And now I am beginning to see the light and become not exactly a bull. I'm not saying buy here, but I am saying the worst is behind us, and the worst is currently going through the digestion track of the market, which means that the heartburn and the indigestion should be over very soon. To paint probably not the most sexy picture of it, but I feel like all of us have been waking up with as Alex liked to say, like we ate a jalapeno yesterday. And it definitely feels like that more often than not, and definitely did yesterday. But after these big drops, if we have a strong recovery, if Europe is able to confidently deal with the energy crisis, if our gas prices are abating, if inflation is indeed topping, and the last of the heavy front load hike, i.e. 75 basis point, which we just got notification on today, actually is the last of the front load, then thinking about it from an umbrella perspective, what is there fundamentally to continue to push down the market? Now, from a recessionary standpoint, we could obviously see consumers continue to spend less moving forward, which could hurt equities moving forward in terms of actually coming to new highs. But in terms of making new lows, I don't see why we would continue to make new lows, at least for equities, below where we are currently or significantly below. We could have a swing failure pattern, maybe a few percentage points under where we are now as the market finally cleans out all that indigestion. But you have to think, if the market has been understanding that a recession is coming because of high inflation, because earnings are going to be lower, they've been dealing with that. We've been dealing with that situation for the better part of the previous month, and we should be done dealing with it now. Heading into Q4, the market likes to look 6 to 12 months ahead. And if you think that we're going to be out of the worst of any recessionary period, meaning within the next 6 to 12 months, the recession will be at its worst, then markets should begin digesting and predicting a future where recession is not at its worst. And when the recession is finally,
I agree.
we understand.
I agree, and I disagree. I agree and I disagree. Now, I think my disagreement with you is literally on a very small window of timing. Otherwise, you and I are pretty much lockstep. The disagreement's going to become, I don't think the worst is behind us, but I don't think we're going to be dragged through the mud. I do think that we're going to go through another bear market rally like we did see middle of summer into August. And the reason I think we're going to set a new yearly low before we go even further than that is because of this chart, and that's up on the screen. The DXY has set two records against the euro. Okay, you look like you're staring through.
Well, I'm like, well, you have it on like the minute chart.
All right, now the stay away.
I'm just saying, why are you showing the DXY minute chart? Show the monthly.
It's for purposes of just visual. Okay. Now the thing is this is my degen trading minute by minute.
Yeah.
Listen, the DXY has set two records recently for all time for highs, not all time highs, but for highs. Okay. And before that, we're going back 20 plus years. All right. We've sent the euro inverse to the dollar twice now within the trailing 30 days. Okay. And with the European crisis going on and everything happening I love the way the press secretary instead of Nord Stream said Nordstrom's at the press briefing. I don't know if you saw that. But she said that Russia turned off Nordstrom's. The DXY is going to go up again. We're going to go inverse again. We're going to send, because as you all know, Nick and I love to preach to the choir how Bitcoin is inverse to the DXY. I am telling you, we are going to set a new inverse record to the euro on the DXY and send Bitcoin to its low point.
So I don't disagree with your thoughts on DXY, but I must pose a question that I had asked myself yesterday, and I've been asking others, and I have not gotten a good answer. And I think this is probably one of the biggest question marks. Is historically the DXY is not always inverse risk. During the summer, DXY actually ran with risk. Prior to the collapse after late Q4, early Q1, DXY was running with risk. And so and someone asked me, why do you think that the DXY would inverse? And so I posed the question back, and I'm still looking for this answer. It's, why did it reverse to begin with? Why did the dollar stop running with risk assets? I don't really have a good answer to that, but I do know it will not always be inverse. And I do also know that we are at the highest levels since, I think, 2003 for the dollar. I do accept that Europe and that global currency devaluation will continue to assist the dollar. But at what point do we start saying that equities are cheap as hell? And if we assume, and this entire thesis that I'm talking about is assuming the crypto TradeFi correlation continues, because if that correlation stops, then this is all moot, because Bitcoin's heading lower while equities head higher.
Bitcoins are not cheap as hell. Bitcoins are not cheap at hell. 24 months ago, the Dow was 68 to 1 on value. It was so overpriced it wasn't even funny. I don't think I'm gonna get Kramer mode right now. I don't think equities are cheap as hell at all, to be honest with you. I think there's a lot to be taken out of the market before we start getting down to anywhere close to 3 times book value, 6 times book value. I don't think we're there yet. I mean,
valuations are at historical lows. In that context.
See, and that is this is the young people, folks. This is young people. That's because you've been tricked into it. If the pizza guy raises the pizza to $20, and then from there, when it should be worth 16, from there it raises it to 25, and then gives you a coupon for $5 off, you're like, this is the cheapest pizza in the whole world. No, it used to be $16.
Well, at least I'll have a pizza, and you won't. But so I get what you're saying, but then I go and look at the daily chart, and I'm like, at bare minimum, I see a rally coming sooner rather than later for some reason on the equities chart. And I'm keeping my assumption here that crypto and TradeFi correlation continue. So I mean, maybe my macro bull thesis isn't right, and I think I'm just starting to say this. So I expect the hate, I expect the naysay. I could be wrong. I accept that, but I think now is the time to start changing my tune, because bear markets typically last 1/3 bull. They typically last less than a year. And we're pretty much 9 months into ours. So I think now that we're starting to get to that 12-month point and the market's fully aware of everything going on, it's time to start thinking in the direction of the bottom is coming soon, in my opinion, barring aliens, a China-Taiwan invasion, or Alex eating peppers every day,
But I just want to say you're leaking minutes of an internal company meeting by referencing my eating a jalapeno in the morning. Listen, I think it's great. It's about time. I think you're a more pleasant person when you turn bullish. So I know here at Trade Chain we're all happy. And it's going to be great to see this market turn around. I think it's going to turn around for the short term. I think we're going positive right now. I just don't know if we get one more swipe at the discount stores, so to speak. So,
and I agree. In this thesis, the bottom is either a double bottom or it is a swing failure pattern beneath the lows, which is a swiftly bought swing failure pattern. Swing failure pattern is basically, it forms a nice wick on the 4-hour, daily, weekly, and or monthly, and then the body of the candle closes above the previous close. That's exactly what I want, or below the low of the body of the previous close, or above, I'm sorry. So I accept that we certainly could continue to head lower. But I think I'm beginning to get into the camp that Petruccio was in, where, we hit the lows, and no matter what you think about that, if you bought at or near the current lows, you're probably good for the next 12 to 24 to 36 months. And that's where I'm starting to get into that camp. And like, I've been public, I have not made any buys. I still have not, even though I have this idea, because I'm waiting to see what happens. We just got the 75 basis point notification from Wall Street Journal, who's clearly trustworthy at this point after 2 for 2 on correct Fed calls, because he's clearly, living in Jerome Powell's apartment. I accept that there's potentially more downside. But if you were to start thinking about and gathering capital for either this level or that downside, you're probably making the correct move, in my opinion. But I'm waiting for at least another week or two's worth of data, because I want to see what happens with FOMC before that happens, before I start punching money in the market.
All right, bring up the chart. I want to go to Ethereum real quick. I want to get the your synopsis going into the merge next weekend. There's a lot of talk around the merge. Obviously, everybody getting really excited for it. And are you bullish or bearish or neutral with Ethereum going into the merge right now, especially at the price we're at?
So if you watch the daily show yesterday or today, or no, if you watch our TikTok and you watch our shorts, then we had a fantastic TikTok yesterday about the merge. Now we're looking at the daily chart here. I'll get rid of these SVPs to make it a little more clean. And we'll get rid of this VRVP right here too. Okay. So yesterday we were hovering here when I mentioned, when I started to make that TikTok video. I said we would likely consolidate down. Now, I did not expect us to fly all the way down to 1500, but I thought we would consolidate at least around mid 1500s. And then we would eventually start rising higher into the merge. And the merge is going to happen right where my cursor is. 13th, 14th should be the day. It's about a week. I would say 6 to 8 days from now is current estimates. So just based on typical market theory after big dumps, especially, and I do like this RSI pattern. It's a bit of an inverse head and shoulders. And anytime we get a big drop and then a nice little doink with a potential swing failure pattern here, this is kind of what I would love to see for any type of swing failure pattern. Is heavy wick down, body closes above the previous body. So this is a great example of what we just discussed. If we can close this daily above the previous close of the last daily, I don't see why we would not continue to pipe into the merge. And then my estimates are 24 to 48 hours prior to the merge is when de-risking will begin. So we pump today, let's say we pump into tomorrow, Jerome Powell speaks, we get a nice little flash crash, a little recovery back to the flat candle, and then we would continue higher into the merge, and then people start selling on Sunday. So basically it's a buy Thursday, sell Sunday type of trade, I think, for the merge. And because right now, the way that the market's just been interpreting this is it's been buying into every news event. And then once the news event is confirmed, then it starts selling off. So with Bellatrix, it took a couple hours to sell off, but it did. And so for the merge itself, because it's going to actually impact network activity, my thought is that as long as the merge is going to stay scheduled and kind of in the limbo stage, we're going to pump into that. And as soon as it becomes obvious as to a better time frame of when it's going to be, people will start de-risking their risky ETH, meaning their bet ETH. And then they'll obviously make sure that their ETH is saved for the 2.0 network, assuming that it lives and breathes as advertised. So that's kind of my thesis around what is going to happen with the merge. And ETH seems to be kind of pushing around the market. I know Bitcoin dominance is obviously still more than ETH, but the ETH trade has been seemingly leading a lot of other things. So I think if ETH has a strong rally, then at least into that merge trade, then we would see the rest of crypto likely have a good weekend as well.
Okay. All right, cool.
But after the merge,
why is there a but?
Go on. I just want to add this. After the merge, if the merge is successful, I think we pump like hell, and then we sell off like it's absolutely nobody. Like you were just shocked that ETH is selling off. Like I think we ripped to like 17, 18, and then it's back near the lows. Like
okay, so hold on a second. So then you're kind of going with what my thesis is for this month, which is I think the merge will not be alone in price action going up. Okay. I think that it's going to bring, I think the whole crypto as a whole is going to have a successful week, or, let's call it next 10 days at least. But then you're talking about how it's gonna hit new lows. That's kind of the same timing I'm having on this relief rally before we start literally working up for the long term. So I think we're in agreement a little bit. We just were saying it differently.
Yeah, 100%. Like when I say that I'm starting to become macro bullish, that means just like from today, 12 to 24 months from now, we should be much higher, or at least not making new lows. But I definitely accept that, those quote unquote new lows could be a swing failure pattern or a double bottom that happens in the next 4 to 8 weeks.
And what about the Ethereum? What about the ETC? What about the Ethereum Classic trade on the merge?
So if you're bullish Ethereum, then Ethereum Classic is probably something you want to also trade as a proxy. So the thesis is that, miners are going to move to Ethereum Classic if the merge is successful. But just for the educational purposes, if you're looking at my chart, Ethereum Classic moved 30% on yesterday's move higher, or 2 days ago move higher into yesterday. 30%. ETH only moved like 5-8%. So like Ethereum Classic has an extremely high beta and typically moves in the same direction as Ethereum. So if you want a high beta play, especially if you're playing spot or you want to use a little bit of leverage, Ethereum Classic, definitely more volatile, definitely more risky, definitely should manage your trade better, but could present a much better opportunity to create value if you are playing into a bullish ETH trade. And if you're counter trading me, then shorting Ethereum Classic also, it's still high beta. So you're still likely to make a higher return if your bet is correct.
Well, and that's how we treat it, right? So if you have a directional market swing and you're going, I like to look, and this is if it's a macro cross market directional swing. You have Bitcoin. I think a Bitcoin is spot when going on this route. I think of Ethereum as a double levered market instrument, and I think of Ethereum Classic as a triple levered market instrument. So both up and down. To Nick's point, it's very volatile. It'll accelerate its positive and negative price action. Generally speaking, greater than Bitcoin and Ethereum as well. So. All right, folks, want to go over to Voyager real quick here. We all anticipated, we spoke about it yesterday's show. We all had anticipated the yesterday's submission of qualified bidders. Voyager confirmed today the qualified bidders, multiple bids were submitted for the company's restructuring, and that coming next Tuesday, which is going to be the auction date, that'll be September 13th, there at 10 a.m. Is going to be the selection process for the auction. Now, what's interesting about this, and I've spoken to a number of people, as most people know watching, I've been trade VGX trade for a little bit now, and really worked up a thesis on it on the weeks leading into it. I originally thought that next Tuesday nothing was going to be said, and I didn't realize, I actually changed my mind going into yesterday that hey, listen, there's going to be nothing said about the submission process, and there wasn't. This is about the closest you could see to 1, including there was a filing in Strato on it, but no names obviously mentioned, obviously no prices. But next Tuesday, I thought there wouldn't be an announcement either. I thought maybe it would be on the 29th, but I'm definitely wrong. It looks like in the second tweet of this thread, once the auction is complete, we will share more information about the winning bidder and what it means to you as a customer. Now, for me to read that, that's good news because I'm playing leg 2 of the trade. The first leg was going into yesterday into the submission. My second leg of the trade is going into the actual winner. And, you know, from what I gather, there is really nothing that isn't going to drive momentum into the positive price action of VGX with the selection of the winner. The only downside risk that I see between now and then is one of the bidders publicly pulling out and announcing it. I have no reason to believe that would happen. I would most likely bet that the courts going through handling this affair have put a gag in place where even if somebody does drop out, nobody's to say anything. If anybody was to leak anything, I'm sure they would get 20 lashings on their backside tied to a tree and a jalapeno. But that being said, I really think the downside risk is less than the upside risk. So I'm actually excited that we're going to hear who the bidder is. Possibly, it sounds positive, and if that is the case, I expect a lot of movement come Tuesday and particularly Wednesday. So on the overnight. By the way, if you guys have been noticing, there's a lot of overnight trading. We're seeing accumulation at 12 o'clock. We're seeing accumulation around the 4 o'clock hour. So Asia is accumulating this and has 2 days in a row. I will be up all night tonight with a couple other guys from the team to see if this pattern keeps going. As you saw today, there was positive price action in VGX due to the tweet release. There's a couple news articles saying that, bids were successfully accepted from multiple parties. And that actually was the driver of what I call daylight price action because normally it drifts off in the US. So I'll be looking tonight at midnight. I'll be looking tonight at about 3:34 in the morning to see if that accumulation pattern in Asia keeps going with VGX. And as always, my trade thesis is progressive, but has not veered very much off course from 4 or 5 weeks ago when I started it to when I executed it.
Progressive, just like your politics?
Progressive, like I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore.
Progressive like the insurance.
Progressive like flow.
Yeah.
But that's good. Glad to see the comments about the ETH merge. Crypto Man, I'm definitely looking for one more chance to buy at steep discounts. I've been DCAing since we've moved down from $20,000 Bitcoin because this is really some tasty buying levels right here. So we'll keep it up. I read on Twitter that Robinhood could be one of the possible bidders. That's interesting. Technically, that would be like synthetic takeover from Sam Bankman-Fried, right? It's almost like a synthetic derivative of FTX buying Voyager. We'll see what happens. I don't know anything more than you guys do, folks. I just put the information together the best I can in order to profit from it. So this is the play at hand. 2 weeks, 4 weeks from now will be something different. We talk about a lot of stuff on this channel. But right now, I am still bullish on VGX. I'm on the second leg of the trade, and we'll see it how it comes to fruition on Tuesday. So, Nick, anything in closing?
We have some good Galaxy news. I don't know if we wanted to share a little teaser of that.
Well, we do. We could do, for anybody who's still awake watching, we'll tease it real quickly and see if they were paying attention. But Galaxy is currently with Google in the Android store in the dev portal, waiting on public approval for app download. And it goes to iOS
very soon.
Very soon. I'm not going to give timeline. End of this week, beginning of next, but
And the website will be up very soon too, so that people can at least check out a few features and just get signed up for the wait list. So
super excited.
Shout out the GARs. Do we have beta testers? So we have had beta testers, but we're gonna, once the website launches, we're going to take signups for very early adopters, and so that everybody can learn and stay updated for how things are going to come into the market, how you can engage. Our plan, I think, is probably, release a little bit of information about it, demo videos, things like that, get people
a lot of learning
that they're not diving in and unfamiliar. And then we'll obviously, as soon as everything's in the App Store and configured properly, it goes into everybody's hands. So during that process of, letting people know when it's going to come to the App Store, we may open up a larger batch testers, but we may also just blow the lid off and give it to everybody all at once. So we'll keep you updated.
We've been, for those who don't know, and see, Crypto Man, I knew you were sleeping when we said it. We need more Galaxy news when iOS. It goes to the store either later this week or next week. The Android, to Nick's point, is already in, and it's Google's decision on when they release it on their timing. So they go through it and run their tests or whatever Google does. So that's out of our hands. When that gets released, that's released, man.
It's soon. Everything is legitimately soon now. It's just the final pieces will be put into the market.
We need to use it, and we can't use the word soon. A lot of people watching this show are burnt on the word soon. Incoming, inbound.
I mean, literally, that you're very well aware. Website will be out in 24, 48 hours, and then it's balls.
Yeah, it'll.
So
SetGalaxy.com is the website.
White paper's coming soon. White paper is imminent. Website's imminent. And demo video is imminent. Product is just go tweet at Apple and go tweet at Google and tag Sent Galaxy. Do it. Maybe it'll help them out. Yeah.
So when Google releases it, it's going to be for the world, and that's it. It's done. So that's already in that process. It's out of we've literally given it to them. It's out of our hands. iOS end of this week, beginning of next. Tweet at them.
Yeah. So tweet at Apple, tweet at Google, and tag Send Galaxy.
Nick and I use it every day, so it's fun.
And they're also, I don't know if I can immediately mention this, but there might be a bounty program coming out for Sent rewards too, potentially. So if you want to earn Sent, prior to the launch, then that'll be possible.
Now we got no updates for another week. We gave them all out. Anyway, folks, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to hit up Nick's Daily Show over the Trade the Chain channel. Best 15 minutes you could spend, as well as you can go, if you're not a member of Trade the Chain, that's fine. You can go to Trade the Chain website and sign up for the free newsletter, which we do the deep dives on Monday, and we do our coins on the move Thursday. So another Coins on the Move comes out tomorrow. We actually we got to put together our what those coins have done. I think we're going to start doing backfills at the bottom of each of those Thursday ones, especially with like Chili's. Chili's was great. We also had another one. I forget the one we have so many coins that go through our positions and stuff. It's crazy. But anyway, tomorrow's Thursday. So if you haven't signed up for the newsletter, it's free. Just sign up for it so you can get the Coins on the Move page. If it bores you to death, then you just unsubscribe and we call it a day and part friends. We will see you tomorrow. And of course, we're around on Twitter and we're in the members only Discord if any Trade the Chain members. But I'm going to obviously, what's on my top of the mind for the rest of this week as far as trade action is concerned. Until tomorrow, hang on to your handlebars and we'll see you then. Thanks for watching, guys.